All right, welcome everyone to the workshop today. My name is Chantal Botha. I'm the CEO of BrandLove, and we are absolutely delighted to have you here today at the workshop. I see a couple of new faces, I see a couple of frequent flyers, and I see a couple of dear friends. So welcome to the session today. I invite you to learn, but also to teach. I invite you to share and be generous with your thoughts, with your opinions. And let's create a canvas today for finding solutions in the current state. So there's a couple of few more people that I'm letting in. We will also be live streaming on both YouTube and on Facebook today. The global requests for getting access to our content has just been tremendous. We're slightly overwhelmed because we can't produce the content quick enough after our workshops. So we've decided to live stream as well. And you will also get access to a recording of this. All right, so today we will be just a quick overview of what we will be doing. First, I will share with you just how we see empathy mapping, what we use empathy mapping for, and then we will break out into Zoom breakout rooms, and we will work in smaller groups to practically get the experience of what it's like to do an empathy map. So I invite you to, once you get into your breakout rooms, and we will still talk about the process for that, but once you get into your breakout rooms, you will be able to introduce yourself to your colleagues so that we can also network and connect with each other and get to know the amazing people in this global community. So in the last 2 weeks, I have probably met some of the most generous, warm-hearted, empathetic, interesting human beings. If I compare that to the previous year of my life, and we work with thousands of people in workshops every year, it's never been this intimate before. So I do want to invite you to leave the inner critic outside the door. Let's just jam together. Let's get to know Zoom. If you're not on Zoom every day, let's get to press the buttons and let's get to experience this online way of working, which I think will be with us for a little while. So let me quickly share my screen with you. And I want to share also with you what I do and how I do it today. So for a start, I'm going to open a presentation that I've done for you in a platform called Beautiful AI. And I'm getting quite hot. I've got the sun kind of streaming through a blind here in my office. So this presentation software is called Beautiful AI, and it is by far the most easy presentation software that I've used. If you are like me and someone sends me a PowerPoint presentation and the text or the images or the icons are not lined up, I cannot help myself but to actually get into that PowerPoint presentation and start correcting the alignment. Now, if you use Beautiful AI, you have no reason to align things because it absolutely just uses artificial intelligence to make your presentations really, really beautiful. And I'm not selling to you, but I want to share with you how we do things. All right, so very quickly, before we dive into the content, I just want to give you an overview of our workshop schedule for the next week. So we've got a saying here at BrandLove: a workshop a day keeps the fear of the virus at bay. So we've had a just amazing, overwhelming response to the workshops last week. And this week we have a workshop, sometimes more than one workshop a day. So today we're doing the empathy mapping bootcamp. Tomorrow, for you guys that have kids at home or have friends who have kids or have colleagues who have kids, we'll be running a children's session at 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. And the beautiful Marelei van Waarthuizen will be entertaining children and teaching them and letting them just be creative. Then tomorrow evening, we have a Women in Business Campfire circle discussion. We had one last week, and it was an absolute meaningful, a deeply meaningful session for myself. as we as women got together and just had the opportunity to share stories about when we were brave. So the wonderful Marilee Smith will be preparing that agenda for you tomorrow evening. So I again appeal to you, if you have friends who are women in business, if you have colleagues, please get them onto that session. Then on Wednesday, back by popular demand, and it will be back every Wednesday by popular demand, is our online laughter yoga session. Also, bring your dogs, bring your kids, bring whoever's at home with you, forward it to a colleague, and let's just laugh for 30 minutes. So like any good routine, we cannot say that we work out unless we actually practice a regular routine of working out. And it's the same with laughter. So within 30 minutes, you will experience the health benefits and the emotional benefits of using laughter as a therapy. Then on Thursday, the amazingly talented Johan Botha will be taking us through a workshop on how to use your smartphone for video, and also some video conferencing know-how. Just going to quickly check the chat here. Yes, you will get the links by email, and you will be able to forward that. So we'll prepare an email for you after the session. All right, and then on Friday, something that I'm super passionate about, that me and my team, we've had the privilege of being trained, and we use this literally every day of our lives. We will be teaching you how to do sketchnoting. And really, sketchnoting, aside from the fact that it makes you smarter, it makes you retain a lot more information. So, if you're like me, I really struggle to concentrate in meetings. I'm always on the next step. I'm always making to-do lists, solving problems. And sketchnoting has really, really helped me to focus in meetings and, stay with whoever's presenting and make sure that I'm really fully present, and that I retain the information. All right. So you are more than welcome to use the chat if you want to ask questions. My colleague Marilee will be watching the chat. Johan, maybe I can ask you as well just to be watching the chat. And if you guys can just raise a hand for me if there's something that you feel needs to be answered immediately. Let's just quickly go through, just for the people who don't use Zoom every day. And I know this image is a little bit grainy, but I did want to share this with you. Marilee sent this to us this morning. And what was really cool is, not everyone uses Zoom every day. So just a couple of things. We are recording this session. We are also live streaming on both YouTube and Facebook. When you go into breakout rooms, I will brief you on exactly how that is going to work. And I can send you messages during the breakout. So if you get a message on your screen, you know that it's me communicating with you. You will also get a heads up when your time is up. But we'll go into the breakout rooms in a lot more detail. For now, everybody is muted. You have the ability to unmute yourself, but I'm going to ask that we just agree a few ground rules. We are quite a number of people on the session. So I'm going to ask that, you just raise your hand on video. At times, I cannot see everyone on the same screen. So you're also welcome to use the raise hand function. So if you go and you view participants, you should be able to press the little blue button there that raises the hands. All right, and then I think for the people that don't have their video on, you're welcome to keep your video off if you're shy. But what I'm going to ask is that when you go into your breakout rooms, please switch on your video so you can actually get to know your colleagues a bit better. All righty. Great stuff. So we've spoken, raise your hand. Don't hog the airtime. When we go into the breakout rooms, give everyone a chance to give their feedback, ask questions in the chat. And then you're not just here to learn from me. You're here to also learn from each other. All right. So let's dip into empathy mapping. Why do we do empathy mapping? And we had a wonderful session last week where we identified a number of stakeholders that are currently kind of in the center of the current world crisis. And we had various groups doing empathy mapping, and it really does bring the real person to life. Sometimes we are so, I would say, entangled in our own issues and in our own world, that it takes, you know, this framework and this tool to just get us out of our own worlds. So it can really help you imagine the issues that another person is dealing with. It helps you think through, what are they thinking? What are they feeling? What are some of the actions that they need to take? What is their fears, their challenges, their needs? And this tool really helps you create questions that you can then go and find answers to. It also helps us to list all of the assumptions that would need to be tested. And it helps us to understand other people's behavior. It helps us to communicate human needs. So once you've got these maps today, once you've done your maps, you're actually going to share those maps with the bigger group. And that gives us, again, the ability to use a powerful communication method in terms of this framework. And then it really helps us identify unseen problems so that we can solve it. So one of the things that I'm going to invite you to do is, if you look at who's in your life right now. So today we're going to do a little case study. We're gonna map for other people, but I do want to invite you, and Johan Botha this morning said to me, let people empathy map for themselves. So I'm gonna invite you to do an empathy map for yourself and just validate what's going on with you right now. What are some of the decisions that you need to make that's hard for you to do? Then if you're in business and you've got a team, or if you're an entrepreneur working from home, I'm going to invite you to do this for the people that are around you. So whether it's your clients, whether it's your colleagues, whether it's your team, go and do this for them. And that's going to give you deep insight, sometimes just in how to communicate and what your next steps will be. All right, so let me show you a few empathy maps. So if you Google empathy map templates, these are the ones that you're going to find. For today's session, I've simplified the empathy map that you're going to use, and I'll take you through it now. But I would say the most, okay, let's just quickly go through this definition. Here's my participants. All right, welcome to the people who have just joined us. Sorry for letting you hang a little bit there, but I have admitted everyone now. So Nielsen Group says an empathy map is a collaborative visualization used to articulate what we know about a particular type of user. It externalizes knowledge about users in order to create a shared understanding of that user's needs and to aid us in decision making. So let me show you a few of the templates. And this is probably by far the one that I really like. And this is by Dave Gray. And you can see here, you know, unpacking who it is that we're empathizing with. What do they need to do? What do they see? What do they say? What do they need to do right now? What do they hear? And then their pains and their gains, and some of the thoughts and feelings that might motivate their behavior. So this is a lovely, lovely template to use. We have done this large on walls before with post-it notes. And this takes quite a bit of time to unpack it like this, but I would recommend that you go and have a look at this one and potentially use this full template for the next person that you want to do empathy mapping for. All right, here's a little simplified one where you go and have a look at what does the user say, what do they think, what do they do, what do they feel, and what's their goals. Then here's another version that looks very similar to the previous one we looked at. So what are people seeing? What are they saying? What are they hearing? What are they thinking and feeling? And then this is one from Adobe, which I just like the look of. I just like the look of this one. So what are the feelings? What are the tasks? What are they trying to get right? What are the influences? What do they, who impacts them at this point in time? What's the overall goal? And what are their pain points? All right. So today, we are going to create an empathy map for each of these three different personas. So we're going to look at kids that are at home at the moment. There's a ton of uncertainty at the moment for kids. My three cannot wait to go back to school on the 15th of April. And I don't want to burst their bubbles at this point in time because we need some kind of quality time with them to properly plan out how their world's going to look. But I doubt that they're going to be going back to school on the 15th of April. So I think around managing, their social environment, my youngest one have just gotten some of her friends on WhatsApp. All of a sudden, the game has completely changed. So I want us to, even if you don't have kids and you end up in this group, I want us to just have a look at what the world looks like from a child's perspective at the moment. I've taken my kids through the Corona map. It is so difficult for them to understand these red bubbles. And for them, an ARB number of almost 30,000 people that have died, it's very, very hard for a child to conceive what that means. Us as adults are struggling with what's going on at the moment. And from a child's perspective, it really does sound like it's a little bit of a sci-fi movie that their parents are watching at this point in time. Then the second persona that I want us to use in our empathy mapping today is, elderly parents or grandparents. And even if you don't have, just chatting to some of your friends, you might get a lot of the fears that we have around this. I had a very difficult discussion with Johan's parents this morning because their pension is paid today. And for the last 10 years, they have gone the last day of the month and they've gone and withdrawn their money from the bank. And that's what they do. That's their pattern. And Johan said to me, no, my parents are about to go and draw money. I said, over my dead body. So I had to have quite a stern discussion with them to say, you're not touching an ATM. You're not leaving your house. And, by the way, what do you need money for? So let's just delve into that persona and again, take a look at what the world looks like from their perspective. And then something that I think Johan feels really passionate about is, looking at the world from the perspective of someone that lives on their own. So, we've got, Johan said last week, well, this current situation, introverts are much more better adapted to actually deal with this. But I want us to look at a person who lives on their own that might have been part of a work environment that are no longer, having that daily interaction. What does the world look like from their perspective? People that would have had lunch at the work canteen and they're no longer doing that. And Olga's adding here, so what are some of the technology challenges that people are facing, especially in that elderly group? Or are we making assumptions for that group to say that they're not that technology savvy? So let's look at what are some of the assumptions we're making. So Pat is suggesting here, Pat, let's quickly look at the numbers. So Pat is suggesting that we look at people who live in townships. That could be a very good group, and we did include that in last week's empathy mapping. But let's just quickly see how many people are we and how many groups we'll be splitting into, and then we can definitely add that. I wonder, let's do that, Pat. Let's absolutely do that. Let's add that, and let's see if I can quickly go. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to change the presentation now and take your precious time. I would much rather let people spend time in their workshop groups. All right. So This is the empathy map template that I've prepared for you today. And I've simplified it quite dramatically. And I'm going to let us look in this top quadrant. I'm going to let us look at, you know, what is happening today? What are people seeing, hearing? What are some of the actions that they're taking? What are they saying to friends? Then what are some of the decisions that they are making or need to make? So what are some of the challenging decisions that people are faced with?
Chantal,
Yes.
sorry, we've got probably more international people on this call. Do you just want to quickly explain what the township is, because people want to know?
Yes. All right. So when we break into our groups, let me deal with that then. All right. So what decisions do people need to take? What are some of their fears? And what are their needs? And in your groups, you are going to take part in just a brainstorming. What are some of the things you see? Then your facilitators will help you go through the discussion. You need to choose a spokesperson that will give feedback to the bigger group. So again, if you have not worked in Mural before, and your facilitators will give you a link to the board that you're going to work on. If you haven't worked in Mural before, this is your opportunity to play with it. All right. So I'm going to very quickly just swap to the screen in Mural and just show you what you will be working with. So let's quickly have a look here. And if you've got a team at work and you need to do online collaboration, you need to do some brainstorming, this is a really, really good tool to use. Imagine you've got a big whiteboard in front of you. You can write on this whiteboard, you can stick post-it notes up on this whiteboard, and it gives you exactly what an analog whiteboard would give you in a meeting room. There's a couple of tricks to get to know how to work this, but I'm going to just quickly show you. So you will get the link to this board inside your chat as soon as you're in your room. Your facilitator will give you a chance to go to that that board, and you will find on that board this simplified image of the empathy map. So first of all, you're going to decide, and your facilitator will help you here. Let's just give the person who we are going to do the empathy mapping for, let's give them a name. Let's give them an age. You know, how old are they? Name, age, and let's give them a few characteristics. You know, are they by themselves? Are they living with someone? You know, what's actually happening? What is their current, what does their world look like around them? All right. And you can see as I'm clicking on these post-it notes, I double click on the post-it note and I can start typing. All right. So you might have challenges if people pick the same post-it notes. You know, you might have someone move your post-it note from under you. Don't stress about it. We are quite a lot of people. We are going to be quite a few people in these groups. So don't stress about it. And then if you use your mouse or you use the zoom in, zoom out, you can make it smaller and bigger. So I would expect you guys to have a little bit of a rhythm issue at first, you know, as people get used to this, but this is also an opportunity for you to play and to just get used to the online collaboration tools. All right. Any questions? Let's just type some questions in the chat, and then I will start setting up your breakaway groups. All right, so I'm just going to quickly stop sharing my screen, and I'm just going to open everyone's faces so that I can just see. I've got my team on the call. So if I could have, let's just quickly see, if I could have Marilee, you in one room, Johan in another room. Let's quickly see who else is on here. Catherine, could you help me out with one of the rooms so that we can split people into 4? I'm going to come and dip into your room and then go to my own room as well. So I'll be there to support you. And Olga, you've been on a number of our calls. Could you take one of the rooms? All right. And then between Catherine and between Olga, I'll dip in and out and just support you in having those breakaway rooms. All right. So for the rest of you, I am going to divide you into 4 groups. All right. You will have, let's quickly see, Marilee and Johan. So as soon as I've divided you up into a group, I'm going to start the discussion and then you will be taken automatically to your breakaway room.
Chantal,
Yes.
are you going to just assign the personas to the groups?
Yes, I am. I am.
Okay.
All right. So let's give Marilee, do you have a preference around which persona you would like?
I'll take the kids.
All right, stunning. All right, so the people who will be going with Marilee, you will take the children, and I'm going to divvy you up now. Johan, any preference on a persona that you would like to take?
Let's take the people living alone.
All right, so Johan wants to take the people living alone.
We're going to do that, Johan. I'm experienced.
Which one do you want, Kat?
Living alone.
So you and Johan would have to fight over that one. Johan, can I give you another one?
Just my kimchi.
All right, Johan, can I give Catherine the people living alone? Johan, can I give you elderly parents?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, and then Anka Gabriela, we will give you a link now. We will give you that link shortly. All right, we're going to give you those links now of the page that you need to join. Okay, and then Olga, we are going to give you the people in the townships. Now, for the people that are not from South Africa, Marley.
I'm just wondering if Olga is not familiar with townships, then I can take townships and she can take kids. I'm happy to do that as well.
So let's just, for the purposes of people internationally, the townships here refers to much more informal settlements. So we're dealing with people that are of a socio-economical segment that are under huge financial pressure. Typically, they have to travel really far to get to their place of work. Typically, they do not have a lot of financial reserves. All right, and I think you'll find that all across the world. We've just got this saying about people in townships. All right, so just to clarify, Olga, let's just hear from you. You're happy to take that group?
Which one? Was it the kids or the township? I think the kids are well suited, but now that it's explained, I can take the township as well.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Olga. Thanks for that. All right, so if you give me just a few moments, I'm going to quickly just divide you up into those groups. All righty, just a few more moments, and then I'm going to have you in your groups. All right, fantastic. And I've got everybody assigned. So what's going to happen when you get into your groups, you will see your facilitator there. And Catherine, I'm going to jump to your group first, give you your link. And then Olga, I'm going to jump to your group and give you your link. All right. And as soon as the two of you have joined Mural, I'm going to just upgrade you to be able to be facilitators in that group. All right. Great stuff. So what's going to happen now is I am going to set the timer. We are going to break out for 40 minutes. And then I will check in on you if we need a little bit longer. I'm gonna leave you a bit longer. But let's take full advantage here of really unpacking those personas, so that when we come back to the big group, we can really share a rich result in terms of what we think people are struggling with. All right. So, yes.
Sorry, just assign the boards to me and Marilee.
All right. So you will be Marilee, you're going to be empathy map 1. Johan, you're going to be empathy map 2. Olga, you're going to be empathy map 3. And Catherine, you're going to be empathy map 4. So let me quickly, it's actually going to make it easier if I do, Olga, if you give me a moment. I said you are empathy map 3. So let me just quickly, I'm going to give you the link to that map. Otherwise, you might have to wait for me for a little bit. And then Catherine, did I say you are 4? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Olga, did you get that link? All right, fantastic. Catherine, you should now have in the chat, you should have your link to your board.
Got it, yeah.
And as soon as we break out into the room, you can just share that link with your group, and then I will join you. I will join you shortly. All righty. So for people that have not been in Zoom discussion rooms yet, you're going to be taken from this room into your breakout room. When you arrive in your breakout room, just do a circle discussion, and your facilitators will guide you with that. Introduce yourself. First name, where you're from, how you're feeling right now, and then you'll be guided to go into the rest of the discussion. First, to give your persona a name, an age, just talk a little bit about what you think is going on in the immediate environment, and then you'll go into the empathy mapping. All right, so enjoy your discussions, and I'll see you in your breakout rooms.